welcome back. Trail Blazers Courtside. Another beautiful night. Now, the weather's changing, coming up soon, like as in tomorrow, but we'll see. What a stretch of weather this has been for us, not only this summer, but here in the fall, too. Mike Barrett along with Mike Rice and Jason Quick, the newest Blazers insider on Comcast Sportsnet Northwest. Your early impressions of the team last night, Jace, as far as, we expected to see Lillard score. CJ didn't shoot it well. Nobody's concerned about that. I thought Myers played well. Plumlee showed he could run. All these things that this effort of getting up and down, we certainly saw evidence of that last night. But your thoughts on the game, the loss to Sacramento?
I thought it was really encouraging, especially on the heels of the Fan Fest. I really liked the offensive movement. People cutting. Damian Lillard said last night that this team will cut more than it did last year. Still the same sets, but you're going to see a lot more cutting. I remember Myers Leonard made a nice pass across court.
I think it was to,
yeah.
I think he had one to Plumlee too, but I think
to a guard.
Yeah, I think
it was to Lillard.
Yeah. And that was beautiful textbook Terry Stotts basketball. And
there it is right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to Lillard. So, that is great stuff, especially in preseason. You don't see a lot of that cohesion, a lot of that.
Especially with guys who hadn't played together much.
Right. And in practice, they're passing the ball even more. Now, last night and Fan Fest, it wasn't that guys were taking bad shots, but they were trying to impress But in practice, that ball really is moving, and they're making shots. CJ, I've watched him maybe 20 times this year. That was the worst night shooting he's had in 20 performances. He hasn't missed in 2 weeks straight of practice. I mean, the guy has been, and he's going to score because he's going to average 18 to 20. And remember, LaMarcus took 20 shots a game. CJ's going to get 18 to 20 himself because he can get his own shot. Yep. There's not a lot of guys. Mo has a lot of skill, but he doesn't know how to fit in that skill with what's going on. It's going to take him a little while, but he has a good skill set. And Vonleh has a good skill set, not like Harkless or CJ, but around the basket. So they have guys that can get their own, and that's the great thing about Lillard. He's willing to share. If you're going to score, he'll make sure you get the ball.
And he worked a lot, he said, on the summer on passing with both hands because he knows he's going to be, attacked, and he's going to have to set up his teammates. But I think a real key to this team is going to be its defense because, like you were just saying, I think a lot of these guys, their strength is getting out in the open court and beating guys. Plumlee's a great runner for his size. Myers, obviously, a great runner for his size. Harkless is a guy you want to get out in the open court. So, but how do you run? You get defensive stops, you get tips, breakaways, stuff like that. And so I thought that was really encouraging last night. The first half particularly, I thought they played really good defense.
Yeah, I did too. I got a little discouraged at the end, and I shouldn't have because the defense was so good the first three quarters. Well, Blazers are winning by 15. Right. Yeah. But Frazier has looked good in the practices on defense, getting around pick and rolls. And Bellinelli last night was, that was vintage him. And finally, someone's giving him the ball. George Karl is the type of coach that, all right, I'll take my point guard and put him in this. Rondo next to me, and I'll let him go off the pick and roll.
Next to him too. Yeah, which was interesting.
You brought up Frazier. I thought after the Fan Fest that Pressey had a upper hand over him, but then last night Frazier has that performance. I don't think he's going to shoot like that.
No.
But he has shot better.
Yes, he has.
But Pressey has shot better than him in the practices. Yeah. Pressey has probably looked a little better than Frazier, but last night Frazier caught up.
Can you remember a more competitive competition for a roster spot? I mean, there's been some, but
not for a roster spot.
Guys.
Yeah, Blake and Jarrett Jack, but they were on the team. Yeah.
I mean, this is really. I think it's going to go down to the very last game. Last practice.
And it's tough too because they're both good guys and they both bought into the system. So it's going to be difficult for, if one of them does end up getting cut. Which
I
think would happen.
Yeah. First day, Cliff Alexander wasn't going to make it because I watched him work out individually with one coach. He could. He was. I said, and I brought it up at a meeting we had.
But a couple of days later.
And then he just took off.
And that's why I wish he were unfortunate to have the bone bruise, and he's not out long. But Alexander is a beast. And Chris Kaman is not a guy that hands out compliments. Right. Kaman came over and said, how was that guy not a first-round pick? Yep. And he went undrafted.
He's got the long arms. I mean, people were like doing this when he was going by rebounding. So
the other night in the locker room, I shook his hand, and I swear my hand disappeared.
Yeah.
In his hand, he's just got these mitts.
Yeah.
Well, that was Vlade Divac last night. I came up to him, and he said, I watch you guys on TV. You say bad things about our team. And he shook my hand, and I thought, King Kong.
And I guarantee what you said. No, that's the other guy I work with, which happens all the time, by the way, which is why Channing Frye's dad still won't talk to me, because Channing, he went up to Rice one time. His dad didn't said something about the Rice was ripping on Channing Frye. And then he says, no, that was my partner. So his dad gets mad at me. But this.
Hey, I get free golf from him.
Yeah, right.
Dad.
Well, then of course
Phoenix.
you have an excuse.
Yes.
But and I made this joke on the air last night. It seems like every year, every coach says, what's your goal of training? Well, we're going to run a little more. Everybody says that, but this team clearly looks committed to that, and really in the way they run practice too, where they do drills that are, the ball goes up, and they have a second ball that is the outlet pass. So It doesn't matter if it goes in or out.
It's got to start with defense, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they got a couple of buckets last night after made shots, but that doesn't happen.
And I think the main thing in practice, CJ and Lillard really are trying to get over the picks.
Yes.
Because now Chris Paul would fit great into this scheme of defense where the big guys back up and they stay out on the three-point shooters. And that's why Bellinelli, he's not getting to the rim anyway. He's just coming off that pick. Big guy backs up, and he goes up. And it's still a tough shot, but he's he can make that shot. So when you run into a guy like that, now Rondo, it works perfect against him.
It's interesting because everyone talks about Lillard's defense, and you wonder how he's going to work on it in the offseason, because defense is a very difficult thing to work on. Shooting, you can sit there and just shoot. Defense, how do you do it? So I asked him that this summer, and he said he felt like he was getting wiped out on screens too much last year. And so what he did was he studied more and he's trying to anticipate the screens more. I tried to watch for that a little bit last night, and early on I saw him get picked off on one. So I think that's something that, if you guys really want to see if Damian has improved his defense, look and see how he's dealing with screens. Is he getting wiped off?
And the thing
is he getting around them?
There is no going behind this pick and roll. Like, Chris Paul, once in a while, he is so good, he won't try to fight over. He'll just go behind the pick and roll, and he's right back out on him, where this, you have to fight over the top, and then the big guy will help you out a little.
Yeah.
I watched Minnesota yesterday, and their whole thing is they're going to double team pick and roll. And, that's their philosophy, and they're jumping out. That guard is going to be taken out, and, they have to then get back to the guy that sets the pick. And, everybody in the NBA has a different way to play pick and roll. So if you're Lillard, you got to do what you just said he's trying to do. How do I get that front leg over the pick and roll? And
it's anticipation. Knowing it's coming.
Absolutely.
That comes from savvy and repetitions. Another thing, too, is I really like CJ's defense. I know he takes some heat on that, too, but this is a guy who I think is going to get into passing lanes. He's going to get some deflections. I think we saw it last night. It was down around the baseline, and he got a steal, and they got into transition.
He's getting smarter at it.
I remember last year I talked to David Vanterpool, one of the assistants, and he says, hey, he's much better than you guys give him credit for. And, he told me some of the things he does. He's not quite quick as you'd like for a guard, but he's smart and he's got great hands. So I think it's going to be really key for those guys to play better defense. And
Alan Crabb is improving on his getting into lanes and deflecting passes. So as a whole group, I think this group can get better defensively.
And we haven't seen Aminu yet, and that's his forte. I'm really excited to see what kind of defense he plays and just how effective he is as a 4 and as a 3.
And they welcomed their first child into the world last night.
Right.
That's why he was not at the game, and he's projected to be the starter. We'll take a break, have one more segment with Jason Quick of Comcast Sportsnet Northwest. A couple more weeks with the Oregonian before he heads over full-time, but already I know doing both jobs, and that'll be a treat for Trail Blazers.
Deliver my paper tomorrow.
Casey Holdall is still to come as well. One more segment with Jason, though, when we come back.